Hello everyone, it's Sunday again, but I'm worried about Indonesia, so let's talk about the future of Indonesia. Today, let me talk about my family life in Japan. I'm coming from a rural village in Japan with the 6,000 population, with 30,000 cows and cattle. Both my grandfathers and mothers were self-employed. On my mother's side, my grandfather was full-time farmer. On my father's side, my grandfather and mothers were shop owner. They were selling vegetable, fish for their entire life. My parents met in agricultural cooperative when they were working as employees. And then they got married and I was born. I have one brother. 3 of my grandfather and parents died at around the age 80 to 90. One of my grandfathers still alive. He will become age 100 anytime soon. My parents receive about 20 million rupiah every month from the Japanese pension fund. So the household income for my parents are around 40 million rupiah. That is slightly higher than minimum wage. So you can imagine my parents are still earning roughly 1.5 times more than minimum wage every month after their retirement. Good news for me is that I don't have to send money to them. They can make their own life independently from me and my brother. My grandfather is currently living in care facility because he has no one to rely on. He used to rely on my mother's older brother because we also share the similar value to Indonesia. The older brother, older son, must take care of their parents. I'm also older son. So my grandfather was living together with my uncle, but my uncle got a heart attack and passed away 10 years ago. My aunt had to take care of my grandfather, but my aunt also became Alzheimer, so my grandfather had no one to rely on. So he lost anyone's support, even though he was living in the eldest son's house. My mother was by chance living in the same village, so she was supporting my grandfather, but of course she was living in a different place. She got married to someone else and she didn't live together with my grandfather. So my grandfather had to decide to live in a public care house, which was subsidized by the government long-term care insurance fund. So currently my grandfather is still receiving about 40% of minimum wage, that is 7 million rupiah in Japan. And that amount is sufficient for him to pay health insurance contribution, long-term care insurance contribution, and the service fee for the care facility. So even though he is around 100 years old, he is financially independent and he's still paying his food, facility costs, care service costs, social security contributions that he would have to pay. My parents don't pay any money to my grandfather, and I don't pay at all to my parents and grandfather. One day I asked my younger brother, what if we had no public pension schemes to support my parents and the grandfathers? Do you think we could send minimum wage amount to our parents? My brother said no. My brother is currently working in Japan as a pharmacist, which is a relatively good job, but even him, it's not possible for us to transfer minimum wage amount to my parent every month. What if the same happens to you in Indonesia? Do you think you can still support your parent? I'm a little bit concerned about that. Could you send 3 million rupiah every month to your parents? If you have 2 parents, father and mother, you would have to pay double for them to make a living. If your grandfather, grandmother are still alive, you may have to pay them another minimum wage for them to live if you don't have any public supports or if your parents don't have savings. The problem we have is also we don't know how much our parents are spending today, and we don't know how much savings they have in their bank account. The importance of pension scheme is not only about the current generation today, but also the future generation. If older persons don't have regular income from such public pension funds, who will pay JKN contributions in the future? Who will pay long-term care insurance contributions? Who will pay tax for the government to generate APBN that can be used for government assistance for older persons in the future. In any cases, the government supports will have to be funded by the people. If we develop a good pension fund today in the government, we could possibly reserve more money for the future. Of course, there is a trust issues in the government, so I cannot really push Indonesian people to trust the government. But world history hasn't found any other good solutions. Most countries still rely on the public pension system. Indonesia really has no time to waste, in my view. The trust in the government is another issue, but what any other solutions can Indonesia take? We will discuss again in the next time. I need to do the laundry today. Bye.